Hey everybody! I wasn't expecting that to work, so you caught me unawares. My name is Jeremy Siskind. I'm the author of Playing Solo Jazz Piano. And look at this, the Jazz Piano Fundamental Series. Pop on over to jeremysiskind.com. Easy breezy. Pop on over and pick yourself up a book. Treat yourself. You deserve it, right? You deserve it. I deserve it. We all deserve it. Today I want to talk about a style of solo piano playing that's maybe not talked about as much, but is important. So if you think about there's kind of this branch of call and response tunes in the jazz vernacular. Think about moanin', right? Or So What is another great example of a call and response tune. Right? And by call and response, what I mean is that there's clearly one section that's a melody and one section that's then providing the chords, but also providing a rhythmic and melodic kind of counterweight to that melody. And so I got really creative. I'm doing a little unit with some of my Open Studio students regarding summertime and brainstorming some different ways that we could apply this call and response idea to summertime. So I want to show you some of those now so you can see how creative you might get with this idea of call and response. So, are you kidding me? Here we go. This is about to work perfectly because that's the way my day's going. Hey, there it is. All right, so first thing that I have is just the lead sheet. I'm only just going to be showing you the first 4 bars. You can extrapolate. So probably the first thing that I would teach or learn in terms of call and response is this top example where the call, the melody is in the octaves. And then for the response, the left hand will play the bass notes and the right hand will play a rootless voicing. So it'll sound like this. Now, it's important to recall, if you're going to be successful in this style, that you can move the melody around. So you don't actually have to play jazz melodies as written. You can make the last notes shorter, you can crunch them together, you can backphrase them, meaning you can delay them, so that you can then find the time to go and play a response. So that's one of the easiest ways to do call and response. You could do that same thing with Autumn Leaves. A second way, you could still be playing octaves for the melody, but instead of just playing this simple one note in the left hand and a 3 or 4 note rootless voicing in the right, you could play a shared hands voicing where the left hand is taking 2 or 3 notes of the chord, so you're getting a fuller chord. Not only might you get kind of a more well-rounded, rich sort of a harmony, but your right hand doesn't have to move as far if your left hand's grabbing some notes of the chord. So this is something that maybe the audience wouldn't know the difference, whether you're doing number 1 or number 2. But as a pianist, it'll feel a little bit different. It's somewhat different concept. As you're preparing these shared hands voicings, you can think about a top melody note that you want to kind of include as your counter melody. So here's an example, and I want you to watch my hands more than the music. So that you can see what's different. So here was the previous one I did. Right? And here's the shared hands voicings, this new one. And By the way, as you could hear there, if I were actually playing Summertime, I'd probably do the first 12 measures as call and response, and then I'd do those last 4 with a more kind of solid, rich texture. All right, so now we're going to enter a world in which we're playing the call in some sort of chords, with chords. And the first way that occurs to me to do it is with closed position voicings. And closed position voicings, I've put out a lot of stuff on it, others have as well. These are these shearing style voicings where there's an octave between the top and bottom notes. So basically, both the top and the bottom are playing the melody. So check out how this sounds. And for the response, because the call is so thick, I've decided to only use tenths for the response. So the left hand is going to be playing bass notes. The right hand will be playing an octave above those bass notes. Here's how that sounds. I'm going to do that for you one more time so you can watch my hands. By the way, I've written out the first 4 bars. I'm just improvising the rest based on this style. But if you'd like to watch my hands, here's what we've got. So a different sound, definitely, than those first 2. Going on to the second page here, whenever I think closed position, I also think drop 2. These are 2 very similar voicings, just with a tweak between them. So we could absolutely use drop 2 to sound a little bit more modern, a little bit more airy, rather than closed position voicings. And then just to mix it up here, I decided that the responses would have kind of a bass fill or a little bass melody, just a tiny bass melody. So and right hand comping. So listen to just the responses here. Something like that, where the bass is playing a little counter melody. So let me make this big for you. And here's what drop 2 voicings. It wasn't perfect, but hopefully you get the idea. You certainly could use drop 2 instead of closed position. So then, in these last few, I decided to take a more modal approach and use some different kind of modal voicings. So the next 2 use modal voicings. The first one uses fourths and stays mostly in the Dorian mode, and then has clusters as the response. So check this out. Not bad, kind of a nice sound, always just harmonizing with fourth within the mode. In order to create that modal sound. We could also use so what voicings, very famous modal voicing consisting of 4 notes stacked in fourth with a third on top. And what I decided to do here was planed voicings, meaning we're not staying in the mode. We're going to keep pure intervals. In this case, a major third on top and perfect fourths beneath. And you're going to hear this sounds a little bit more out than the previous. Okay, so really bright, kind of a technicolor sound with that planing. And then lastly, I decided to show a slightly more athletic version of call and response. In this case, the two hands are going to be playing octaves again, but now they're going to be playing what we sometimes call double octaves, spread with an octave in between. And they'll be nice and high in the register. Now, the two hands in the response are again going to do shared hands voicings, but instead of just kind of playing the chord, they're going to be adding some reharmonization, some kind of targeting sorts of things. So that's a little bit busier, a little bit more chromatic. I'm going to keep my hand, the camera on the keyboard so you can kind of watch the athleticism of this. We'll see how it goes. 1, 2, 3. I don't know, something like that. So it could be more athletic between the top end of the piano and the bottom end of the piano as well. Guys, if this was fun for you, you're a nerd like me. Congratulations. But you probably really love leafing through this book, Playing Solo Jazz Piano, available at jeremysiskind.com and on Amazon, wherever fine books are sold. And why don't you use the word fine if you made it to the end of this video. Thank you for watching. Oh, and I'm going to do something I never do. I'm going to figure out how to put this as a PDF if you subscribe to my email list. If you want this PDF, subscribe to my email list, and I'm going to get you a link that gets you this PDF. I don't know how yet, but it's going to happen. All right, everybody. Thanks for watching.